Now all we really need to focus on are the colors. Let's start with the Jumbotron. So everything inside the Jumbotron is just a different shade of blue, and that shade of blue I have in this document here, 2C3E50. We'll go to our style sheet, and we can just select the Jumbotron and give it a color, and everything inside of it will adopt that color. Just like that. Refresh, and you can see everything has changed to be blue, including the glyphicon. The glyphicon is just treated as text. It's actually a font, so you can change the color of it using the color property. Now let's tackle the navbar, which is a little trickier. The background color isn't bad. All we need to do is select navbar inverse, or we could do navbar or navbar fixed top, but I'll do navbar inverse and then give it a background color of that blue background and paste that in and refresh. And you can see it changes to be blue, but to change the color here, I want them to be white rather than that gray that they are. If I just style all anchor tags, which is what these are, if I just style all anchor tags to be white, it won't quite work. So I'll show you what I mean. Anchor tag, color, white. I'll go back. It doesn't take effect. And this is a great use for the inspector. If we inspect it, take a look what's happening. So we can see that our color white is crossed off, and the color is being assigned right here, this line. Color is this gray, and if we uncheck it, they go back to being the white that we want them to be. And that's because this is a more specific selector. If you can think back to that lesson I did on specificity, this is calculated to have a higher number, a higher specificity index than what we had here, which is just poor little anchor tag, versus this up here. It's multiple classes. Remember, each one of those is 10 times more specific than just an anchor tag. So what we want to do is write a selector that will be just as specific. And we can just steal this one right here. So we'll go into here, can paste that in, and then change color to be white. So we'll just override the exact same selector that Bootstrap had. And it's important that our styles occur after Bootstrap so that we can overwrite it. And if we refresh, we now get white links. Lastly, we'll do the same thing to the navbar brand. So as you can see, that's inside of navbar-brand. If we select that, dot navbar brand, and we give that a color of white, and save, and go back, it still doesn't work, and we have the same problem. So if we inspect it, you'll see that it's crossed off. Our styles down here, where we're turning it white, has been crossed off, and rather its color is being changed by this line, navbar brand inside of navbar inverse. So we can also just steal that and overwrite that. So we just need dot navbar inverse, navbar brand. So basically we're writing styles that are going to clash head to head in a battle of the styles between Bootstrap and our styles, and they're identical in the selectors. So because ours comes second, they're going to come out on top. They're going to win. We'll go back, refresh, and there we go. We have most of the styles done. There's one really minor thing that you probably won't notice on the screencast. The color of the gray on the Jumbotron is ever so slightly different. So I have that color here. I'll just copy it and then go to our CSS, and we'll just change the background of the Jumbotron to be that gray color. And pay close attention as I refresh. Hopefully you can see it change. It just changed. It's a slightly bluer looking gray. So let's test everything out. Let's resize. Does our navbar work? The JavaScript works just fine. There we go. Everything looks good. The last thing I'll show you is how we can use a different icon here. The one that I'm using is from a library called Font Awesome. Font Awesome is a simple library that includes a lot of different icons, way more than the built-in Bootstrap glyphicons. So you can get to it at fontawesome.github.io. I'm on the home page here. And if we click on icons, there are over 580 different icons. You can see them all here. And one of the nice features is that you can search through them, which you can't really do on Bootstrap very easily. So we can search for photo, and we get camera and the camera retro, which is what I used. But before we can use any of them, we need to install it. So if you go to getting started, they have a nice CDN that you can just copy and just put that inside of your application. So we'll do that up top, paste that in, and now we can use Font Awesome icons. And it's really, really easy. Actually, if you click on any icon that you like, let's say I want to use the peace sign, you can click on it, and they give you the little bit of code that you can copy. So it's an icon with class equal to FA for Font Awesome, and then FA dash the name of the icon. Let's just replace the camera icon with this. So we'll have a big peace sign, we'll save and refresh, and we have our peace sign. So Font Awesome is pretty awesome. It's really popular, lots of great icons. As you can see, pretty much any icon you would ever need. They have a bunch of the standard ones, pause, play buttons, forward, backwards, different icons for technology and different internet icons, but they also have some more fun ones like peace signs, and I think they also have a Spock hand. Yep, there we go. So you can use any of these just like you use any other font. So if you want to change the color, you just change the color property. If you want to change the size, you actually change font size. So I'm going to use that retro camera. Oops, search for that again, which is camera-retro. So I need to do fa-camera-retro and save, refresh, and we get that retro camera. All right, so we're finished with the gallery aside from actually changing the image URLs, which I'll do as soon as I finish this wrap up. You probably don't want to watch it anyways, but in case you do, I'll include it at the end. So we have a navbar up here. We made a small change, which was we used navbar inverse, which is how we got the black and white navbar, but then we actually changed the colors anyway, so it didn't really matter. And then we also used navbar fixed top, which is how it stays up at the top. We used a grid system down here, and then we used a jumbotron. I introduced glyphicons, the built-in Bootstrap icons, which are relatively limited. There are most of the things that you would use, but occasionally they won't have something. Or sometimes you just prefer the way that the Font Awesome icons look. Font Awesome is definitely more popular than the Bootstrap glyphicons. And the other new thing I showed you was the thumbnail class, which we can just put around an image, and it will constrain that image into our grid, and it adds this nice little border here. And then lastly, we talked about specificity and how we had to battle the Bootstrap styles if we wanted to change the color, the background color, we wanted to change the background color of the nav, or the font color of the links, and also the color of the nav brand right here. Okay, so that's it. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we can make a landing page with Bootstrap. And as I promised, I'm now going to go copy and paste those image links to make 9 different images here. So if that's something you want to see, hang around for the next minute or two. Okay. So I'll just split screen this, and I'll copy some of these over. This first one, and I'm just going to replace this one here. And then I'll do the next one. I'll replace this one here. And then the next one. I'm sure this is riveting. And I'll keep going on down the line. Just like that. All right, we're past halfway. We're getting close. And the last one, I think we did it. Let's save, make sure everything looks good. Refresh. And we have 9 different images. Awesome. All right, so now I'm done. Hopefully you enjoyed making that image gallery. I'll see you in the next video.